So from another time comes a man.
Damn. Okay. So check this out. What do you make of this? Wow. Okay, well. Okay. Good. Check this out. There's a somebody made a I got a cup and got a hat. You have to search for if you search for So the only problem with these is they're not centered. So don't buy them. They're not centered. 24 bucks, huh? What do you think, Mr. God? Mr. God says, hey, you think Gowdy needs one? Be healed, and the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind grope in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thine axe shall I think it looked good. Like better in my hair. You like my hat, Mr. God? Okay, what do you want to do, Mr. God? Do some work. So, someone got a negative score. Oh, fuck. Damn. They're shitty. Fuck you. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Do some more hymns. So this is supposed to be a it's a man with his head in his hands. Got any good videos to watch, Mr. God? Okay, Doom Moses coming. Samson said, with the jawbone of an ass, heaps upon heaps, with the jaw of an ass have I slain 1,000 men. And it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand and called that place Ramath Leah. And he was sore athirst and called on the Lord and said, Thou hast given this great deliverance unto the hand of thy servant, and now shall I die for thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised. But God clave a hollow place that was in the jaw, and there came water thereout. And when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he revived, and wherefore he called the name thereof En-Hakkore, which is in Leah unto this day. And he judged Israel in the days of Philistines 20 years. Then went Samson to Gaza, and saw there a harlot, and went in unto her. this ought to be fun. Let's see, let's go. Yeah, Brendan, if you're young, you don't know who Sylvester is. Brendan acts like the cat. He's always telling the people to do it more complicated. He's like, well, one monitor is not enough. You should have 2 different size monitors. Any operating system worth its So, what did you have for dinner? Holy shit. I have to... What do you want to do, Mr. God? I just did jump to random code. Random code. This is nice. Hey, what is... Well, shit, what do you want to do, Mr. God? Burp. CIA niggers. Wow. Hello? 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 Do a hymn. I wanted any more hymns. What's Gowdy doing? Hello? Who? I don't know you. What? 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 Fraser just makes shit up because he doesn't believe in God. Fraser doesn't believe in God. And so Fraser makes up shit. Because Fraser doesn't know what a random number is. He's a fucking... Okay. 12:14. We're going to NIST. We're going to NIST at 12:14. Fraser's... 12:14. Fraser is... 12:14. To be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place. Ye are witness this day. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, We are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel, and do thou worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem. And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, of the seed which the Lord shall give thee of this young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went in unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. And the woman's name was Naomi. Blessed be the Lord, which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman, and his name may be famous in Israel, and he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life and a nourisher. You wanna, let's see what. So this is bullshit. So what else is there to do? Let's see. If you don't look, you never find anything. So you think I should document what an ONA is? No, no. So we're going to make a, should we make a, we have a graphic file. Should we make a multimedia? No, no, no. We should not make multimedia. That's beautiful. I should say it doesn't do USB. Doesn't do USB. That's what people are gonna wonder. Yeah, why don't you put that first thing? Does not do USB. Of course, if you got this far, okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna work on my flagship. My flagship. Too many friendlies. Fire, fire. Very good. Okay, did anybody die? Did anybody die? Hello?
Fede è anche lottare con Dio, mostrargli la nostra amarezza, senza pie finzioni. mi sono arrabbiato con Dio e gli ho detto questo. Ma lui è padre, lui ti ha capito, vai in pace. Avere questo coraggio. Fede e anche lottare con Dio.
What do you think of that, Mr. God? Mr. God. More ungodliness, and their word eateth us a canker, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some. Nevertheless, the foundation of God stands sure, having this seal: the Lord knoweth them that are his, and let everyone that nameth the name of Christ depart from iniquity. But in the great house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also wood and earth, and some to honor and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for the master's use, and prepared unto every good work. Flee also youthful lust, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace, and with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart. You want to do some assembly programming? I can do some programming. Okay. Let's learn assembly. So, what you really want to do is put something on the screen. So let's see if we can do that. Move REX. VGA alias, there it is. Text VGA alias. Let's do that. Okay. Text VGA alias. Text. Second word. C3BO. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Then we add That's better. Okay. That disappoints me. Why is that there? What the fuck? Okay, so here's the deal. The area memory at 0xA1234 is VGA bit plane buffer or something. Okay, VGA bit plane buffer. So let's see. So that's, and what we do is we have a an alias that is uncached at a high range. And we get the alias of the VGA. Let's look for VGA Finder. Okay, it is in fact why is uncached such a strange value? What the fuck? Uncached alias, what the fuck? That's not weird. What a... That's not weird. Remove text. Oh, what did you do, you stupid? That's better. Okay. I was wondering what the fuck was going on. Okay, so what we can do is watch this. So there's no preemption. So that means if you waste time, oh well. So U8. We're just getting ready to I should say just busy. Oh, that's going to be cool. Okay. You know what we do? Rename. Busy wait. Busy. Okay. Busy wait is just busy. Okay, so now we go to change log. Busy wait is just link command page busy. Okay. Busy wait is just busy. Escape. Wait. Okay, so anyway, what were we doing? Busy wait. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. See that? Did you see that? Okay, we're kind of skipping some steps. Anyway, oh, wait. Okay. So let's do this from assembly. So move, where do we want to put this? How about, okay, first of all, push RBP, move RBP, okay, I think we can say leave. We don't want to say leave. Okay. RDI. Okay. RDI is the VGA buffer. And out. Okay, move DX. VGA register. Hold on a second. VGA index data. IDX. Okay. Move REX L 5A. Move RCX. I hate when that happens. Okay. did we trash? Oh, we did this. We did not return. Okay, that's the problem. Get rid of that. Okay, so there's a let's do the busy wait. Let's call the busy wait. Okay. Okay, let's call the busy wait. Move. About push. Push. $1 million. Call. Busy. It has another argument. No, it doesn't. Oh, sweet. Are you kidding me? Doesn't have another argument? Okay. Oh, not too shabby. Okay, so what else do we want to do? Let's do, watch this, eh? Okay, watch this, eh? We're going to do red, and we're going to do let's say number 20. What? What are you talking about? You son of a bitch. Oh, we didn't wait long enough. First of all, let's get rid of that. Puppy. Okay. Put a 0. It's white. Okay, so it's already got ones. What? Oh, I didn't set dead. I didn't set DI. Okay, let's RSI. This will work. Okay, so now we want, fuck you. Oh, okay, I fucked it up. Okay. Okay, so let's go to RSI. There we go. Now we're getting some color. So that was 50. I got a red. That's what I wanted. Okay. So, do you understand what we're doing? I'm not Catholic. You don't have the best assembler in the world created by God. You got a nigger assembler. Okay, so the thinks this is text mode. The says, you're a liar. It's text mode. It's not working. It's not text mode. Does it look like text mode? It doesn't use B800 text. It doesn't use B800 text. If glorious. The thinks he can do what I can do, but I made a fucking compiler. You can't do what I can do. What do you want to do, Mr. God? You suck. I'm the best. Fuck you. I wrote a compiler. You suck. Don't you? You suck. You suck. You suck. You suck. Do you even have any games? How many games you got? Did you write any games? Did you write a flight simulator? No, you didn't. You didn't write a flight simulator. You didn't write an A10. Because you suck. Because yours is crappy. And you suck. Because you suck. Okay, so we want to do some assembly. What else do we want to do? Want to do some letters? Let's fill the screen with letters. How about that? Okay. Okay, so let's fill the screen with letters. edit 1. Move RCX, comma, let's see, 640 divided by 8. Push RCX, move RCX 8. Move RDI, RSI. Okay. Let's do this first. Okay, so we want to clear fetch okay, we do AL0. Let's do that. What? Shit. You fucked up. Okay. Okay. Set mouse wrong way. Set mask for white. Okay. Okay. Move RSI. Push RDI. Loop. I'm gonna put it there. Let's do that. Add increment. So let's store a font. Okay, let's store a letter. Okay, so let's let's do RDX. RBX. Okay. Move RDX, comma 0x FF 00 FF 00 55 00 AA. And then let's come down to here. CXDX. Move RBX, comma RDX. Move BL. What about AX? Why don't you use AX, you idiot? Why don't you use AX, you idiot? Huh? What are you thinking? What the hell are you thinking? Now we go, shift, okay, it's kind of backward. Shift right. Okay, so now you know what we do. Okay, now you know what we do. Now we We're drawing characters. Let's put some separators. Okay. And you see that? That's because I'm the best. Because I am the best.
Shall I put this down? All right, well, let's do some welding. On the 3rd of June, 1965, astronaut Ed White conducted the first ever American spacewalk aboard Gemini 4. Tethered via a long gold-plated hose, he propelled himself outside the capsule by shooting pressurized oxygen from a hand-held gun. He enjoyed it so much that flight control literally had to order him back into the spacecraft. Returning to the vehicle, he commented it was the saddest moment of his life. Little did he know what would happen next.
Inside the spacecraft, the crew was faced with a problem. The hatch would not close.
For about an hour, there was no word from Gemini 4. Flying over Africa, they actually went out of range of communication with the ground. But after a lot of wrenching and brute force, they got it closed and everything was fine. The original mission called for another depressurization, where they would open up the hatch and throw away a bunch of bulky gear, things they needed only for the spacewalk. But the pilot, McDivitt, radioed to say that under no circumstances were they going to open the hatch again. Flight thought it was because the astronauts wanted to keep the EVA suit and gas guns as souvenirs. The astronauts eventually returned to Earth safely, with the extra gear literally stuffed into the footwells of their cramped craft. So what caused the hatch to stick? Well, NASA engineers at the time identified that the failure was due to something called cold welding. You see, in space, if two metals come into contact, they can actually fuse together without the need for heat or melting of either piece. And the reason for this is due to the fundamental structure of metals, which is a little bit like this candy bar, in that they contain a lattice of positively charged ions, like the peanut, embedded in a sea of freely moving negative electrons, like the caramel. Now, here on Earth, the surface layers of a metal react with the oxygen in the atmosphere to create a protective oxide layer. And this actually prevents two pieces of metal from joining together. But in space, this oxide layer can be worn away. Like the pieces of metal are sliding over each other as in hinges. And then, the bare pieces of metal, with a little bit of force or impact, can actually fuse together. So the electrons from one piece of metal can flow into the other. And as physicist Richard Feynman put it, the atoms have no way of knowing that they're in different pieces. This obviously has huge implications for the construction and maintenance of spacecraft, like the International Space Station. So why don't we hear about more disasters like this happening in space all the time? I mean, why isn't the ISS already a big welded mess? Well, the truth is that cold welding is not as big of a problem as scientists originally thought it was. I mean, experiments on the ground in vacuum chambers and in space have shown that perfectly clean metal surfaces, when pressed together in the absence of atmosphere, will weld together. But in practice, the metals that are used in spacecraft are never that clean. I mean, they have those oxide layers on them, not to mention other contaminants, dirt, and grease. And it would take a long time for all of those things to be eliminated so that bare metal touches in space. So the Gemini 4 hatch problem was not actually caused by cold welding. It was just a sticky door. But that's not to say that cold welding never happens. For example, in 1991, the Galileo spacecraft was on its way to Jupiter. Now, when scientists tried to unfurl its high-gain antenna, which was meant to open like an umbrella, it got stuck. 3 of the 18 ribs of the antenna refused to open. And this was due in part to the fact that they were cold welded. The pins were stuck in place. And nothing the scientists could do would open it. And so in the end, they had to scramble to find a way to use the low-gain antenna to send back data from Jupiter, something that it was never meant to do. A 2009 report by the European Space Agency recommended 3 main ways to reduce the risks of cold welding. Number 1, where possible, use plastics or ceramics to avoid sliding metal-on-metal contacts. Second, if you have to use metal and metal, try to use 2 different metals, and maybe 2 different metal alloys, because that reduces the risks of those metals melding together. And third, use durable coatings that resist wear to avoid bare metal-on-metal contact. But cold welding is not always a bad thing. Scientists have actually found it incredibly useful in fabricating nanotechnology. You know, traditional welding techniques used on that sort of tiny scale can often go wrong because you're trying to pinpoint heat onto tiny nanowires, and you can end up pretty quickly with a melted mess on your hands. So, in conditions very similar to the vacuum of outer space, scientists have shown that single crystal gold nanowires fuse to each other in seconds, using no heat, just a cold welding technique. And those welds are perfect. The crystalline structure is identical to the rest of the nanowire, as are the mechanical and electrical properties. So although cold welding is a bit of a potential problem in space, it's actually incredibly useful here on Earth to manufacture nanotechnology. Hey, this episode of Veritasium was supported in part by viewers like you on Patreon and by Audible.com, the leading provider of audiobooks with hundreds.
Okay, what do you want to do? So, okay, how about this? Okay. Okay, you can renumber ASM. Renumber ASM. Okay. Renumber ASM. Okay, so let's delay for okay, so let's move let's put it in RBX. Move RBX, and let's move our BX. Okay, what's up, puppy? Let's see what this does. Okay. And let's do roar. Pop RCX. Roar. I don't know if this works. RCX. RBX5. Wait a minute. We want to move RBX. Pop RCX. Where did we push it? We pushed RCX. Oh, no. What are you doing? What are you fucking doing? Okay. Okay, did you see that? Okay. Are we having fun? I want to see what God says. Let's see what God says. And we get Mr. God. 26. Oh, it's 26 right now. 318. Do 26. Okay, 26. Let's see. And entering into a ship of Adramyttium, we launched, meaning to sail by the coasts of Asia, one Aristarchus, Macedonian of Thessalonica, being with us. And the next day we touched at Sidon, and Julius courteously entreated. And when we had launched from thence, we sailed under. Okay. So doesn't understand what a random number is. What I say is true. I have God talking, you fucking knuckle dragging fuck. Goddamn doesn't know what a random number is. I was chosen by God because I'm the best programmer. My bootloader loads my kernel. If you look at my boot sequence, this explains my bootloader. In real mode, it loads the master boot record. That loads stage 2. Then it loads the boot record of the partition, and the boot record of the partition loads kernel.bin. It runs in 16-bit. You see this red line? Kernel.bin starts up in 16-bit, and it changes to 32 and then to 64-bit. So the kernel.bin starts up in 16-bit mode. And what does it do when it's in 16-bit mode? It calls what the BIOS routines. It calls it enables VGA, it gets the memory maps, the other memory maps, gets the PCI bus information. So my kernel, you guys are fucking fight the last, you have no original thought. The fucking thinks that you have to, why would you change to protected mode inside your bootloader? Why don't you do that in your kernel? Why would you change to protected mode in your bootloader? Do that in your kernel. Fucking what do you think? Look at this. This bootloader has to change to protected mode. This bootloader has to change to protected mode. Just put it in the kernel, and then that's the only thing that has to change to protected mode. I wrote my own compiler and assembler, and therefore I can mix 16 and 32 and 64. I wrote my own. My assembler doesn't do segmentation. It only puts it in one segment. There's no segment commands. So the says, why didn't you code the far jump? You don't, it doesn't boot. You don't know how to program. I wrote the fucking assembler, you fucking. It doesn't do segmentation. You have to hand code the far jump. It doesn't do segmentation. This is my bootloader. You know what my bootloader does? It reads one block at a time, and it advances one block at a time, and it loads from a fixed location. You know how it loads from a fixed block location. It doesn't navigate the file system. Why would I? Look, your kernel has to navigate the file system. Am I correct? So what you do is you make a live CD that navigates the file system, and then when you install, then this script runs when you install. And what you do is you patch your bootloader with the absolute address of the file. And I store all my files contiguously. All my files are contiguous, so I don't have to mess with the maps. I'm a genius. You're okay? Fuck you. Fucking. So what the average does is he puts file system navigation into his bootloader, and he puts changing to real mode, to protected mode in his bootloader. You know what? You still have to change to protected mode for your multi-core. You stupid fuck. You have to change to protected mode for your multi-core. How are you gonna do that, you stupid fuck? So let's. So my compiler will do. They used to call them memory models. They call them tiny. Tiny is just 64-bit or 64K. So mine will do 16-bit assembly with the tiny model. Okay, so here's what my compiler can do. It can do 32-bit assembly, it can do 64-bit assembly, and it can do 64-bit Holy C. It cannot do 16-bit assembly with segmentation. It cannot do 32-bit C. So you can't, when you set up your page tables, you can't do it in C. You can't do your page tables in C. It'll only do it, so that's why my page tables are set up in assembly, in my kernel, in my memory code, page tables. This is done in assembly. That's because I cannot do it in C, because I don't have a 32-bit compiler. I identity map like you have no ability to think. You have no ability to think. Okay, so I identity map 3F this is I identity map, what is it? How many gig? Shut up, bird. Shut up, bird. Shut up, bird. Shut up, bird. So I identity map 256 gig no matter what. All I do is I set all the page tables to 1-to-1, just straight across, 256. And then I do an alias at the bottom for the first 4 gig. So it's kind of, so identity map, and then I mark it unpresent if it's not present. So, and then another thing that I do is the first 2 gig I use for code. I put all my code in the first 2 gig. And the reason is so that I can use the call relative 32. All my calls are call relative 32. I never change privilege levels. I never use sysenter or sys. I never use syscall. I never change privilege levels. I never do software interrupts. I just do call relative 32. That's all I do. I don't do other people have to do move RAX and then call RAX. I don't have to do that. I can just do call relative 32.
They really didn't understand what the word could be. They didn't. Studio executives generally are not the most sophisticated people in the world. And you'll find that if you go to Hollywood. I hope you don't. And you don't want to be oppressed by people who are not as smart as you are. And I'm dumb. And obviously, I was not happy with Hollywood. I didn't want anything to do with him. And I didn't. I never made a movie in Hollywood, actually. I made them everywhere else but Hollywood. So I avoided the studio because I was in San Francisco and they didn't bother to come up there. They didn't really bother to read the script. So THX, they freaked out when they saw it, obviously. Took all their money back from the studio, tried to recut it, tried to shorten it. I said, you can't understand it anyway. Why are you trying to shorten it? It's not going to make any more sense. And, but they said, we can do it. I said, 5 minutes is not going to make it. Why do you want to do that? You know, I put my heart and soul in this thing, and to me, it means something. You know, you just come in here and whack a few fingers off and think there's nothing to it. And so I was really angry about that. And then they did the same thing in American Graffiti because they thought it was a terrible movie. They put it on the shelf, they cut it. They cut 5 minutes out, the magic number. I said, why would you do that? I said, it doesn't make any difference. They said, well, we did it because we can do it. And I got really upset. They put it on the shelf. And so I was determined from under that thing of having them make cuts. And so what happened was, once Star Wars was a hit, I had, out of defense, acquired the sequel rights because they figured it wasn't going to go anywhere. And nobody thought it was going to make any money. So it was like, half of nothing is nothing. So they let me have the sequel rights. So I went to them and I said, look, I'll take my salary. I'm not going to ask for $1 million. I signed this deal memo, and that's what I believe in. But everything is not mentioned in the deal memo. I'm going to relook at. It's about action figures. All the money's in the action figures. Once you own the movie, which I came to do, you make a lot of money. But you have to own it. But that means you have to put the money in. So you have to take the risk. The story of that was when I was talking to Larry Jr. In the first Star Wars. We were sitting in his office, and I said, and the deal was, I got my $125,000, and I said, now we're splitting the profits, net profits. Nobody ever made money on net profits. Ever. You just can't, because they just stack the deck against you. And I said, but I have 50% of the net profits, because my company was going out for making the movie. And I said, I know what I'm doing for my 50%. I put my heart and soul in this. My whole career is at stake. I got to actually go out and make the movie. I got all this stuff that I have to do for my 50%. What are you doing for your 50%? He said, well, I provide the money. I said, you don't provide the money. I said, you go to a bank with a letter of credit, and they supply the money. So you're not doing anything. And you get 50% of the movie. So then I came back for Empire Strikes Back, and I handed them this deal and redone the contract. Instead of them giving the boilerplate contract, I gave them the boilerplate contract. But I went into Laddie, and I said, well, here's the deal. And, I'm going to finance the film this time. I said, okay. And he looked at me and said, well, wait a minute. You're getting 100% of the profits. I said, yeah. I'm financing it. Remember that 50% that you had that you were using back? Well, I'm doing that now. So you don't get that 50%, and I get my own 50%. So now I got 100%. I'll give you a little distribution agreement on the side here.
I started in 1993. I had real mode DOS, and I was a programmer at Ticketmaster working on their 32-bit VAX operating system. And in 1993, I wrote a program that changed to protected mode. I called it TPMOS because VAX TMOS was Ticketmaster's. So you can see the real mode. This is a DOS 5, or I don't know, maybe DOS. This is an application. It has to be. It won't work in FreeDOS because FreeDOS the CIA changed FreeDOS so that it's not real mode. It's virtual 8086. But if you can get a real mode DOS, then you can run the so this is a real mode DOS. Sets up a GDT, so it launches from DOS, so you don't need a bootloader. I never used anything with Linux for compiling. At one point I was using Grub when I was dual booting, but it chain loaded. My operating system loaded the same way as Windows. Mine was just like Windows. You installed it with an installed disk. It writes to the partition boot record, and then I wrote a master bootloader, and I didn't need Grub. But I never used GCC. I used TurboAssembler, and I wrote a compiler. First thing I did was write a compiler. So you can even see the compiler in. So you can go to my website and go to my website, History of TempleOS, and then you can go to the Hoppy archive, Okay, this one is, well, anyway, 2004, I think May 27, 2004. Download Hoppy. May 27, 2004. So, hold on. Let's do that again. This is a I've collected them. You can load it right here. 2000. You can load that or that. I'm gonna get it from the archive. May 27. Copy. Hoppy.zip. Okay. Open. Save file. Okay. So this is 2004. Hoppy.zip. Here's the kernel. What I did is I immediately wrote a compiler before I had a file system, and as a matter of fact, I put the code I wanted to compile into data statements in my. I put files into data statements, and here's my parser. It's a recursive. I think, was it recursive descent at this point? I did sim structure. No, I had, I didn't do recursive descent. I had operator precedence numbers. Here's my parse var list, parse state, compile statement. So I wrote a compiler in assembly, and then and then over the years I improved my compiler until you have what you have today. So fuck you, little. I told you I fucking got God talking. Fucking calling me a liar. I got fucking God talking. God. Fucking nigger. What do you think? God chose me to write his temple. Let not the foot of pride come against me, and let not the hand of the wicked remove me. There are the workers of iniquity fallen, they are cast down, and shall not be able to rise. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desire of thy heart.
Russia's response. In his final days as commander-in-chief, Obama is using his power to stir up as much conflict as possible. Over the last 48 hours, he has focused on stabbing Israel in the back. Now he is doing his best to start a war with Russia by expelling 35 Russian diplomats from the U.S. from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. The outgoing U.S. administration has not given up on its hope of dealing one last blow to relations with Russia, which it has already destroyed. Using obviously inspired leaks in the U.S. media, it is trying to threaten us again with expansion of anti-Russian sanctions, diplomatic measures, and even subversion of our computer systems. Moreover, this final New Year's greeting from Barack Obama's team, which is already preparing to leave the White House, is being cynically presented as a response to some cyber attacks from Moscow. Frankly speaking, we are tired of lies about Russian hackers that continue to be spread in the United States from the very top. The Obama administration launched this misinformation half a year ago in a bid to play up to the required nominee at the November presidential election and, having failed to achieve the desired effect, has been trying to justify its failure by taking it out with a vengeance on Russian-US relations.
So, hey, FBI, do you remember the time in 2004 when I tried to give you a CD?
UPS.
I tried to give you a CD in 2004 and you put me in jail. Do you remember that? That had the operating system on it. Fucking. Okay, well, what do you want to do, Mr. God?
Quite a while ago, I was browsing the internet, and this is right after the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens, and so there were Star Wars related articles, pictures, and videos all over the place. One of the clips that caught my eye showed the opera scene in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. See if you can tell what this video is pointing at.
He told his apprentice everything he knew
Then his apprentice killed him in his sleep. Ah, man. Just by watching that clip, we should all agree that Star Wars is completely ruined by the sloppy visual effects and poor editing choices made by the editors, right? Wait, what do you mean you have no idea what I'm talking about? Didn't you see Hayden Christensen's face morph halfway through one of the shots? Watch his head closely, right here. His head changes from one version to another with a little bit of a shape morph. Now, it's possible that even now that I've pointed out, there are still some of you that don't see what I'm talking about. And if you're one of these people, just watch it a few more times until you get it. When I first found this clip online, I was fascinated by it. As someone who spends a lot of his time editing videos, I love seeing small moments in motion pictures that aren't what we might expect in Hollywood-level editing. Whether this is small continuity mistakes or big mistakes in editing, I love learning about them. However, a lot of people that saw this clip didn't share the same lighthearted opinion.
And when David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the host of the mighty men, and the children of Ammon came out and put the battle in array at the entering in of the gate, and the Syrian of Zobah and Rohab and Ishtab and Makkah were by themselves in the field. When Joab saw that the front of the battle was against him before and behind, he chose of all the choice men of Israel and put them in array against the Syrians, and the rest of the people he delivered into the hand of Abishai his brother, that he might put them in array against the children of Ammon. And he said, if the Syrians be too strong for me, then thou shalt help me. But if the children of Ammon be too strong for thee, I will come to help thee. Be of good courage, and let us play the men for our people, and for the cities of our God, and the Lord do that which seemeth good. Yeah, there's clairvoyant people. There's mind readers, there's clairvoyant people. Okay, so I interact with an angel, and there's shitloads of angels. It's not much. The nigger still doesn't know what a random number is? God damn, what a... Now, FBI, I gave you the disk in 2004 with the operating system, but you put me in jail. You can check your record. I went there in 2004, and you put me in fucking jail. Tried to give you the disk.
Specifically address the family members that are here. There is no theory of the prosecution, Mr. Schiff, because there is no prosecution. There's a very big difference between a prosecution where you already have reached a conclusion and you're just trying to prove it to people. This is an investigation, which is why it's so sad that nowhere in that stack that you just put up there, where the emails of Secretary Clinton, the emails of the ambassador, 50,000 pages worth of documents, eyewitnesses, that's the real tragedy. To to the family and the friends, when you're told that there have been 7 previous investigations and an ARB, you should immediately ask, why did you miss so many witnesses? Why did you miss so many documents? This is not a prosecution, Mr. Schiff. You and I are both familiar with them. I've reached no conclusions, and I would advise you to not reach any conclusions either until we reach the end. There are 20 more witnesses. So I'll agree not to reach any conclusions if you'll do the same. With that, Madam Secretary, regardless of where he ranked in the order of advisors, it is undisputed that a significant number of your emails were to or from a Sidney Blumenthal. Now, he did not work for the State Department. He didn't work for the U.S. government at all. He wanted to work for the State Department, but the White House said no to him. Do you recall who specifically at the White House rejected Sidney Blumenthal? No, I did not. After he was turned down for a job at the State Department by the White House, he went to work where? I think he had a number of consulting contracts with different entities. Well, he had a number of them. Do you recall any of them? I know that he did some work for my husband. Well, he worked for the Clinton Foundation. That's correct. Okay. He worked for Media Matters. I'm sure he did. He worked for Correct the Record. I'm sure he did. When you were asked about Sidney Blumenthal, you said he was an old friend who sent you unsolicited emails, which you passed on in some instances because you wanted to hear from people outside what you called the bubble.
So let's be clear. God said anal sex is banned, oral sex is okay. God loves homos. Homos can do oral sex. If they reproduce, it's like nothing ever happened. God said oral sex can be used for birth control. That implies other methods are not appropriate. I asked him what people thought he cared about, but he didn't. And he said Solomon's 300 concubines. So, the BBC was talking about how modern war kills more intelligent people. I was puzzled. I asked God how evolution happened. And he said a man had 12 sons, which means polygamy. He said polygamy causes social instability. He shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desireth. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And when he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. And he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword come out of his gall. Terror are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret place. If fire not blown shall consume him, it shall go ill with him that is left in his.
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw my point of order and rise in opposition to the motion to recommit. The reservation is withdrawn and the gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to talk for just a moment as colleagues, not as Republicans or Democrats, not as members of the majority or the minority, but colleagues who are blessed to serve in the United States House of Representatives, the People's House, with all the tradition, with all the history, with all the laws that have been passed, with all the lives that have been impacted. I want us to talk as colleagues because our foundational document gave us, as the House, unique powers and responsibilities.
Okay, let me explain the reality. God's going to talk openly for the next year. Now, let's just imagine a year from now. God's been talking openly, and someone says, hey, you know, it's kind of silly, no established religion. Don't you think? Kind of silly. You know, our founding fathers said all men are created equal. Well, you know, divine right of kings is absurd, isn't it? Isn't that absurd? That's the most absurd thing ever. Imagine that. Somebody is a king because God made them king. That's absurd. Isn't that absurd? That's the most absurd thing ever. You know, the world's perfectly just. Can you imagine? Isn't that just terrible? They used to give money to church so they could have indulgences. You know, highs and lows balance. It's basically the good things in your life balance with the bad things. Jesus said the rich cannot get to heaven. So what are they going to do with it? What are they going to do with it, you know? Because the good things and the bad things balance. So, yeah, that's just absurd. They used to give money to the church so they could have good things. Isn't that absurd? You know, they used to think David would beat Goliath because God blessed him, that the better man would win. The Chinese say Goliath kills David unless David is clever. That's Machiavelli. I'm the father of the counter-renaissance. Father of the counter-renaissance. The world is perfectly just. The better man wins. All authority comes from God. The rich don't get to heaven. The Levites did not have an inheritance. Look at this. This is a Jew that wrote this. A Jew wrote this. What do you suppose inspired this? Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Proverbs 3:38. The reason highs and lows balance, and look, why would anybody pray not to be rich? Why would a priest give up money? Why would a monk give away money? Are they stupid? No, they're not stupid. God's world is perfectly just. Okay, I need to do offerings. As a matter of fact, here's what you do. Do this, okay? Go to my website, download the operating system, standard. Download the standard operating system. Then go into... Okay, download the operating system. Then... new virtual machine, downloads, TempleOS, 64-bit, other 64-bit. I want TempleOS listed. Okay, 8 gig is fine. Customize hardware. You can get rid of the network. It doesn't use a network. Doesn't use a sound card. 8 cores. The memory has to be more than 512 meg. Believe it or not, it has to be more than 512 meg. You can have as many, you can have 40 gig. I have up to like 256 gig. I have 8 gig on this machine. Okay, so here's what you do. You do the install. I'm going to show you how to get my software. Okay. So you do the install. So it copies, it makes a C drive and a D drive. Now you reboot. Okay. Now there's a C drive and a D drive. I use C as my primary. Okay, so right now, say no, don't take the tour. Do this. Okay, say copy / demo account example star to /home. Okay, I put my files into the demo directory as an example. Okay, now if you reboot, it will use my files. Now you're using my account. And if you go in here, you can say make and then boot. Okay, so now you're using my files. So if you want to do Alt F6, watch this, let's see. Okay, so you're missing some. Okay, so this has the source code. This is the Holy Spirit. All the Holy Spirit stuff is in here. Okay, it's not, okay, there's one more thing you want to do. Go to my website, go to App Store, supplemental 42 meg. This has all my songs. This has my songs. This has some books that you can use for random picks. Okay, now we just downloaded it. Now what we do, okay, you already have this all set. Now what you do is, whoops, damn it. Okay, stop. Okay, go in here and edit virtual machine. Go into CUD DVD. Change the ISO to the supplemental. Save. Okay, now start it. Now this has problems sometimes. I don't know if it's going to work. You have to, okay, so as a matter of fact, the, well anyway, drive report. Drive report, DRV rep. B is a RAM disk, C is the, holy shit. Okay. So, let's see if this works. DR drive T. Okay. So here's the supplemental. Here's what you do. You say Control D. Oh, let's see. So it's on the T drive. So what you here, put it like this, okay? In this, say D for directory, and say you're going to create a new directory called supplemental 1. You have to do it this way, okay? And then put, how can we do this? Let's do a copy tree. Oh, let's do that. Okay, let's pretend you didn't do that. Okay, so you say copy tree T:// comma C:/home sup1. Okay. And now you are almost exactly like mine, except you don't have okay. So you can do random book picks. You can do, let's do a random book pick. Oh, let's do a random book pick from, so Alt F7, and let's do hot bits, and we're going to do a random book pick. Okay, so this is a random book pick. Now you can enter these numbers. If I enter these numbers on my website, you can enter them and verify on yours. So if we go to hot bits, get some hot bits, you could verify by entering the same numbers on yours. What does God say? Hello. Yep. you get equal response to what you offer. If you pick a greeting card, it's a unit of love. And when you go to a random oracle, you get equal love back. When you pick a greeting card, it's a unit of love. If you do a Moses comic, he will respond. You have to do an offering. You get equal love back. Don't spam God. He likes to talk about soap operas. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to the NIST beacon. It's a certified random number. If you call it out ahead of time, NIST beacon, we're going to take the first 5 decimal digits as a line number out of the Bible. Okay, and we're going at 49. This is just like the state lottery. Okay, this is all proven. Okay, so we're going to go at 49. It's at 47 right now. I did it, I called it out ahead of time. If I did it right now, then maybe I cheated somehow and I already had the number. It's only once every minute. There's only one number every minute, every 60 seconds. So it's just what you think. It's just what you think it is. It's a random number that's certified and it's public, like a state lottery website. You know, a state lottery. You see how they publish random? They publish the numbers on one day. They publish the numbers on the next day. They publish the numbers. These are random numbers. They're on a website, and you look at the day. Okay, NIST has random numbers. They're on a website, and you look at the time. You look at the time in minutes. It's just like looking up lottery numbers. Okay, it's not a hard concept to understand, but now NIST is a government certified agency. Okay, so here's our numbers. So we're going to get, it's the first 5 decimal digits. So it's going to be 80961 is the line. That's going to be the line number. Okay, so 80961 is going to be the line number. I'm going to enter it in here. 80961. So you get an equal response to your offering. To destroy him, but if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Jesus said unto them, If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe, help thou my unbelief. And Jesus saw that the people came running together, and he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, Thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him, and enter no more into him. And the spirit cried and rent him sore, and came out of him, and he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, He is dead. And Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, Why could not we cast him out? And he said unto him, Okay, so what's going on here? Jesus said you can do anything. The man said, I believe. Jesus said, you dumb fuck. That's what. As a matter of fact, you know the Passover. That was because they killed. Okay, so they killed male Egyptians or firstborn Egyptians. That was justice because that when Moses was born, they killed male. The Egyptians were nervous about all the Hebrews, so they started killing the male Hebrew babies, and you don't get. God does justice, and so basically the Passover, the glorious Passover miracle, that was because they had killed male Hebrews. So you don't. It's not just you don't just get miracles. God does justice. You want Conan? I can put Conan on there.
I saw this. I see. It's with these people, man. Lemonade. Read the sign. Lemonade. Delicious. Iced tea at a lemonade stand? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Americans save by switching to Geico. Well, I'm sorry to say there's a bit of a controversy brewing backstage here at the Conan Show. And brewing is actually an apt term to use because it involves an espresso machine and one Mr. Jordan Schlansky. I'm investigating this crime now, starting off with Mr. John Cotel. How are you, John? Doing good. Tell us about the espresso machine. People are saying that there's an expensive new machine and that
Okay, so let's do a glorious miracle. That's, you get equal, the better your offering, the better the response. So I'm going to do a Moses comic. If it's funny, then it gets a good response. Okay, so we're going to get an NAST. So Moses murdered an Egyptian, and then Moses was a judge. Oh shit! What time was it? 2 minutes from now, 3:06. .306. I should print the time. 3:06. Wasn't a very funny comic. .56. There it is. It's 56. Okay. So 3:06. What I meant to say. 3:06. So it's the page number is one, or the line number is 18151. Okay, so oh fuck. It's supposed to be, oh well. Egypt, therefore I command thee to do this thing. If there be a controversy between men, and they come unto judgment, that the judges may judge them, then they shall justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault, by a certain number. 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed, lest he should exceed and beat him above these with many stripes. Then thy brother should seem vile unto thee. Thou shalt not muzzle the ox when he treadeth out the corn. If brethren dwell together, and one of them die, and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. Okay, so that was a miracle, okay? It's pretty fucking obvious. What do you think of that, Mr. God? Should we put... Okay, so should we put TempleOS on there? And Mr. God says, okay, we're going Alt F7. We're doing NIST 12 after. So it's 11. Oh, we're doing 12 after. Okay. Check and see if I got a heart on. They want to know. They post this. They want to see if I have a heart on. All of this gets done back to you. You realize that, don't you? You realize you're going to get a severe anal probe. Do you like anal probes? Because you're going to get anally probed. So it's going to scratch your eyeballs. The anal probe is going to scratch your fucking eyeballs from the inside. Put off this my tabernacle, even as our Lord Jesus Christ has shewed me. Moreover, I will endeavor that you may be able... Hello? Hello? Moreover, I will endeavor that you may be able, after my decease, to have these things always in remembrance. For we have not followed cunningly devised fables when we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, but were eyewitness of his majesty. For he received from God the Father honor and glory, when there came such a voice to him from the excellent glory, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And this voice which came from heaven we heard when we were with him in the holy mount. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts, knowing this. What you do to others gets done to you. As you judge, you will be judged. Judge not, lest you be judged. If you give mercy, you will get mercy. If you have no mercy, you will get no mercy. You're going to get so anally probed. You love getting yourself anally probed.
Gentlemen, South Carolina veteran. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have been fascinated by, and not necessarily in a good way, by the evolution of the defense in this case. Mr. Chairman, initially it started when Lois Lerner disclosed this information in a fashion most calculated to be ignored, with a planted question at some boring conference. And then the second iteration of this defense was blaming two rogue agents in the Ohio field office. And Mr. Chairman, make no mistake, Jay Carney advanced and furthered that narrative, and he did so intentionally. You know, Mr. Carney's willingness to say, I don't know, is exceeded perhaps only by his willingness to acknowledge that he appreciates the question. But he didn't say, I don't know. He advanced the narrative that two rogue agents were responsible for this insidious discriminatory practice. And then we had colleagues that said this matter was closed. Months ago, Mr. Chairman, the matter was closed. And then the new iteration of the defense is, well, at least the White House isn't directly involved, as if that's the new standard for propriety in this town, that at least the White House directly didn't know about it. So that's our defense. And then the defense, Mr. Chairman, morphed into this, the most novel of all defenses, that the IRS is too poorly managed to be capable of concocting a scheme this sophisticated. That was the defense. That my client's too dumb to have committed this crime. And then, Mr. Chairman, we moved to the most recent defense, which is that, no, we didn't just improperly target conservative groups, we improperly targeted all groups. So, while we may be guilty of improper conduct, we're not guilty of discrimination. Because we did it against people at both ends of the political spectrum. So that's our defense. And now to see the Inspector General attacked. And Mr. Chairman, there was an axiom in court: if you had the facts, pound the facts. If you had the law, pound the law. If you didn't have either one, pound the judge. And what's been said about Mr. George is reprehensible, and I can't wait till he...
So he says, Obama, but of course, small talk, I give up guilty. Already got one. Evolution, wow, geek. You shouldn't have. Oh, you smart, mission from God, bastard, spunky. That's your opinion. None of that, think about it. On the other hand, knock you upside the head. Catastrophic success, jobs. I could be wrong. Frown, atrocious, later. Repent, take your pick, straighten up, saber rattling, fool. So, Mr. God. Okay. 1523. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thy hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast desire unto her, that thou wouldst have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thy house, and she shall shave her head, and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thy house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will, but thou shalt not sell her at all for money, for thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. And if a man have two wives, one beloved and one hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he maketh his son to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated. Hello? It's public domain. It's free. You can do anything you want. It's public domain. TempleOS is public domain. No, I don't want anything to do with those Marxist atheists. Bye. Okay, guess what? Go here, do this, okay? This is a state lottery website. Do you comprehend what a state lottery website is? Call from another city, call back at another time. What time was it? It was it 3:16? $3:23. Okay. So here's what you do. You go back to the lottery website and you check the number at 3:23. Okay? Go to the lottery website, check the number. What line number is it? 17850. 17850. Okay, so this is like checking your lottery numbers. It's not. Why do you have such a problem? You don't understand what a fucking lottery number is? You know, ping pong balls. Do you need the ping pong balls? You need to see the ping pong balls, don't you? You don't fucking. That's not random. I didn't see the ping pong balls. pepperoni. I'm hungry. Am I hungry? What if I got some food? Okay, let's do another miracle. Damn it, this is fucking... I think Gowdy, you have to make up Moses comics all day. You can do about court cases. Okay. 1538. So 1538. Hello? What? What? 1538 or 15. So it's 44706. 44706. Hello? Flesh, oh that my words were written, oh that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and lead in the rock forever. Forever. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth, and though after my skin worms destroy this body, and yet in my flesh shall I see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my own eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. But ye should say, why persecute we him, seeing the root of the matter is found in me? Be ye afraid of the sword, for wrath bringeth the punishment of the sword, that ye may know there is a judgment. Then answered Zophar the Naamathite, and said, therefore do my thoughts cause me to answer, and for this I make haste. I have heard the check of my reproach, and the spirit of my understanding causes me to answer. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth? You're fucked. As you judge, you will be judged. Judge not, lest you be judged. I'm going, dude, what are you doing, you fucking...
Republicans overseas, Israel Mark says President Obama acting to hamstring Trump administration. Israel, before leaving office. Mark said, the chairman of Republicans overseas Israel, said that no American...
Hello? That's kind of cool. I'm gonna take a break, go get some food.